Hey guys, welcome back. It's Claytano. Thanks so much for tuning in as always. And today I'm going to be sharing my story for the first time ever on how I went from having $500 in my bank account to making over $500,000 by playing a phone game called Summoner's War. Full disclosure, this video is not a tutorial. This is simply just me sharing my story. However, if you do want to take some of the strategies that I'm going to be giving you throughout this video and apply them to your own life, I absolutely encourage that. The only thing is that Summoner's War is a very outdated game, even though it's still like kind of a thing. I would just recommend starting with a new game which has decent hype around it, a lot of people that are expecting to play it, and that way you can be the first one to the market. So an example of that game would be something like today's sponsor, which is Kabam's new game, King Arthur Legends Rise. So let's take a look at that first and then we'll get back to the video. If you didn't already catch the trailer at the Summer Game Fest, you can tell right off the bat that this isn't your usual run-of-the-mill game. It has everything you can ask for from a hero collector, from epic Arthurian quests, crazy mythical weapons, and even crossplay between mobile and PC. I'm actually not even able to give away too many spoilers just yet, but aside from the stunning graphics, King Arthur Legends Rise includes an expansive story quest mode where you'll summon a variety of different characters through a unique gacha system. And of course, you guys already know how I am about gachas, so I fully intend on trying this one out for myself as well. You can upgrade your team of heroes through a unique relic system and take down tougher enemies, which is ultimately the name of the game. King Arthur Legends Rise is considered to be the breakout RPG of 2023, so do yourself a favor, click the link in the description below, wishlist it on Steam, pre-register, and follow @PlayKingArthur on all socials. All right, so I know what you're probably thinking. Here's another guy on the internet who is claiming to have made $0 and turned it into some astronomical amount of money. And the thing is, you're exactly right. I am absolutely no different than the other people in the 20 other videos that you've probably watched this week about turning $0 into however much money. The thing that you have to understand though about that is you are also the exact same as us. And there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't do this yourself. Anyone can do everything. You just can't do everything. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ways to make money online. There's a whole bunch of different ways to say, if you're someone who has a 9-to-5 job and you're looking to break out of that by making money online, this is just another option for you. And the biggest thing that I would recommend is just pick one and stick with it. There's plenty of different ones out there. This is just another option, and this one worked for me. It was able to break me out of my 9-to-5, and it honestly changed my life. And if you are able to spend the next 10 to 15 minutes and even watch just half of this video, it could potentially change your life as well. And I hope it does, because honestly, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. So how did I get into gaming? Well, first things first, I was gaming from a very young age. I was playing, MapleStory and RuneScape when I was like 12, 13 years old. I was even coding some different MapleStory private servers. One of the servers that I ran was called Humanity Reign. Gaming has been something that's always been an interest of mine. There is that sort of caveat of, do you want to turn your hobby into a job? And the thing is, when I was making content and playing video games for a living, it never really felt like a job. A better way to put it would be, you want to turn what you love to do into something that can keep a roof over your head, and then you'll just never work a day in your life, or you'll end up working every day of your life, however you want to look at it. Always had a love for gaming, and that never changed. I was, an athlete growing up. I played ice hockey and was doing pretty well with that. So I ended up going to college in Massachusetts. Ultimately, it was where I ended up finding a video game called Summoner's War. I ended up dropping out of college. My parents were really upset, and I was like, I totally get that, and I understand it. I respect it, but this is a decision that I have to make for myself and my life. And I quit hockey. That was the last day that I ever played hockey, and I dropped out of college and moved back to Virginia, which is where I had met my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and basically was working 3 different part-time jobs trying to make ends meet and pay for rent, essentially. So I wasn't really making a whole lot of money. I was working for $7 an hour at 3 different locations, and it was kind of crazy. But eventually I was like, all right, well, I want to get back into college and I ended up getting like a more stable job that was literally working 9 to 5 at Geico. So I was doing like Geico and school kind of at the same time. All the while playing Summoner's War, and then someone was like, hey, you should make a video on it, so I did. And that was kind of like the start of my YouTube career. I didn't really know what it was going to turn into. It was just literally somebody in the game saying like, hey, make a video on it. And I was like, all right, fine, like here it is. So I posted the video. I had, totally clickbaited the hell out of it, and I didn't really care because it wasn't something that I ever thought was going to turn into anything that was, was to come. And ultimately it did pretty well. And I was like, oh, okay, kind of like that. Maybe I'll post another one. So I did. And then I, continued posting a little bit more. And it was always on the same game. It was always on Summoner's War. I never really did anything other than Summoner's War for like a really long time. And that's something that I would probably recommend as well. Like if you pick King Arthur Legends Rise to play, like stick with that for a really long time. Consistency, audience, and being there for the people who want you to be there, super, super important. And I tell people this all the time. So this is kind of what a normal day in my life looked like while I was making videos. So I'd wake up around 6 a.m., go to the gym from 7 to 8, and then I would get to work 9 to 5, and then I would go to school right afterwards, have a couple classes, wouldn't get home till around 9:30-ish, and then from there I would eat, hang out with my girlfriend for a little bit, and then make a video. And that would take me the rest of the evening till about 2 to 3 a.m. Like I was really only getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep pretty much every night. And then I'd wake up and I'd do that all over again. And it wasn't necessarily something that I felt like, damn, I got to go home and make this video. It was, I can't wait to go home and make this video. And I think that if you don't feel that way when you are making your video, that, you might want to like try something else, so it should be something that you really, really want to do and really enjoy doing. And then if it ever gets to that point where it's not, then like go find something that makes you happy. Like that's the biggest thing about life, is like trying to find joy in every single day. Ultimately, that's why I ended up stopping for a bit and not making videos. So yeah, I did that for the first 2 years, and I was making maybe $600 a month on ad revenue. I had some other sponsorships come in. I think my first sponsorship was for a game called mobile something. It had Arnold Schwarzenegger on it. Basically, they were saying like, oh, they would pay me $5 per download that I got people to download the game. And I was like, dope, like I'm gonna make bank. And I had like 10 people download the game, and I was like, let's go. I just made $50. I had a couple other like tiny sponsorships like that. I didn't really understand what I was doing. But one day I remember sitting at Geico and then just looking at my phone and then getting an email from this company called Adder, ADER. And basically he was saying that if I made a video for them by tonight, that they would pay me, just to give you like straight up numbers and be fully transparent, it was $5,000. Like they're going to pay me $5,000 to make this one video for Final Fantasy. And I was like, cool. I feel like this is a scam. I feel like this isn't real. Like, why are you paying me this much? And then I got up out of my chair. I like told my supervisor, I was like, hey, like I'm not feeling good. I'm like kind of sick. Like I'm going to go home. And I made this video, posted that. They paid me, and I was, mind blown when I saw the $5,000 get deposited into my account, because I was like, still like, this isn't a real thing. I was just absolutely didn't, had no expectation for that to actually happen, but it did. And then a week later, I got another email back from them saying that they wanted me for another activation. And I was like, if I do one video a month, I don't have to work at Geico anymore. And it was very, very planned out to quit my job. Like I promise you, it was the last thing that I even thought was a possibility, because I didn't know how consistent it was going to be. Like that's the biggest thing that I myself had to deal with, and I know a lot of other content creators had to deal with, was the consistency of sponsorship deals. Because YouTube ad revenue, if you are a mobile gamer, you're not really getting a whole lot of views, but your audience is worth a lot, because a lot of the people watching your videos like to spend a lot of money on games. So even though, I was getting 10,000, 20,000 views on my videos, my audience was paying hundreds of thousands of dollars on every sponsorship game that I would promote. And so it was like a win-win situation for everybody. Now this is like 3.5 years into content creation and playing Summoner's War full time, not changing, not doing anything else. Again, consistency, one video every single day, did not miss a day. Consistency was everything. Moving on past that, it went from one sponsorship a month to one sponsorship a week to 2 sponsorships a week. And at that point, I was like, I am making more money than I would have if I would have graduated with a software development degree. And I was like, all right, let's just cool it with this college thing. And I ended up dropping out of college for a second time. I was already making, well over 6 figures a year, which my CPA at the time was not really preparing me for that one. Basically, long story short is that I continued to do sponsorships over and over and over again. Biggest thing with sponsorships is that the requirements are very particular. Like even the requirements for this King Arthur Legends Rise integration that I just did. If you want to go back and look at it, like there's very certain things that you have to do to promote the game based on the guidelines. Always do exactly what the sponsorship wants from me. Make sure that it's given to them on time. Communicate with them by responding within 24 hours, no matter what. Always present myself as a professional at all times. And lastly, whatever price you wanted to pay me, whatever price you thought I was worth, I was okay with it and I was doing it. I never haggled, because that also allowed me to build a relationship with a lot of people. And the first time they had another sponsorship come up, I was the first one they went to use, because I was easy to work with and I hit everything that I needed to hit. So that's the biggest thing. Like if you're working with sponsorships, then you just be professional, just be on time, just be classy, all that stuff. So, and it was a relentless grind. It eventually, after like 4 or 5 years of doing this, it just never got any easier. It wasn't one video that made me viral. It wasn't one video that, skyrocketed my subscribers. That never happened for me. It was just a grind. But really, Summoner's War was what was the core of all of my earnings. After I quit my job, I started streaming, because I was like, well, if I'm going to quit my job, I'm not going to be working 8 hours a day anymore. I'm going to have time to stream, so that way I can now double my sponsorship payouts, because if they're going to pay me for a video, I can also add on a stream, like a package bundle deal. So basically the way it works is there's a whole bunch of different types of sponsorships, and if you can get all of them activated, then you're just like doubling down on every single sponsorship. For example, I have a YouTube channel. Final Fantasy reaches out to me and says, hey, let's do a sponsorship. I say, great. This is my price to do a full-length video. Typically, it's 5 minutes or longer for the sponsorship, for a full dedicated video. So if you guys look back at some of my videos, you'll see like a full dedicated video where it's just about a specific game. That's a dedicated video. That's typically the highest price, because there's no other like co-branded. It's not me talking about Summoner's War with then like this on the side. It's just, this is about the game. This is me trying it out. Here it is. It's a dedicated video. And then you have integrations. Integrations are 30 to 60 seconds long, like the one on this video for King Arthur Legends Rise, which, by the way, definitely go check it out. Like I'm not kidding when I tell you that this is the game that you could probably do something with. And that integration has to go on a video that isn't about that game. Generally, it's to bring your normal audience into the video with some type of catchy title and thumbnail, and then say, oh, by the way, if you haven't checked this out, here's another game that you might want to look at. Those videos typically get a lot more views than the dedicated videos, but most people just skip past the sponsorships. So you have to kind of be creative to actually like incorporate them into your video and actually mean something, just like I'm doing with this video, by the way. Twitch streams, you have an hour, 2-hour streams. You typically get paid by the hour to like play the actual game. That gets tacked on after a normal stream. So if I'm playing Summoner's War, I have, let's say 500 concurrent viewers. After I'm already playing Summoner's War and have all those people who are watching me for that, then they'll say, okay, now you play this other game, you switch over to it, and you do a sponsored stream, and they typically pay you X amount of money for that, depending on your concurrent viewership, engagement, all that type of stuff. And really, that's just like the main stuff. And then you have Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, those things that you can engage as well. And honestly, those platforms now, they have their own set of like brand deals. So it's not just video game content, but like there's so many other things that you can monetize as an influencer. The biggest thing that you want to do, like this is, if you're watching to this point, this is the biggest, most important piece of information if you're trying to make money by playing video games, is you want to build your audience first. Don't worry about making money. Build your audience. Your audience itself is going to make you money, period. Like having an influence in today's day and age offers so many opportunities that it's like you have to have a voice in this world. And whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Twitch, you just want to like spend time investing into creating that audience, because it's worth it. It's what helped me launch my shoe brand. It's what helped me break out of my 9-to-5. It's what's kind of driven each new era that I've kind of gone into since building an audience. And while you're building your audience, build them in a way that's monetizable, meaning don't cuss, don't be overly dramatic on certain, political views and stuff like that, unless that's your vibe and you're okay with that. But, sponsorships are typically going to shy away from people that tend to go that route. Can you make a lot of money just off of ad revenue and not take sponsors? Yeah, absolutely. Can you make a lot of money off of Twitch subscribers? Yeah, absolutely. For me, I enjoyed mostly working with new brands. I enjoyed, going on trips and like seeing new games that were coming out that like nobody had heard of before, testing things, and like just stuff like that won't happen if you're not able to monetize yourself. So anyway, that's the end of my rant. If I can leave you with one thing is again, just, anyone can do anything. If you have any questions on how to start and how to like, what you can actually do to get into making money off of playing video games, have more detailed questions, leave them in the comments section, or feel free to DM me on Instagram. Either way, I would love to help you guys out. And who knows, maybe I'll make some more videos on gaming in the near future. But aside from that, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay soupy, don't be potatoes, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace.